Good evening, visitors, and welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Gerard Pratt, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Corporal Melissa Robinson. This evening, we warmly welcome the family of Warrant Officer Beresford George Douglas Dillon, whose story will be told shortly. We also warmly welcome Group Captain Bruce Chandler, retired, representing the Air Force Association. And as always, we welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony from across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. If able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through until the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Beresford George Douglas Dillon. Beresford Dillon was born in Brisbane on the 24th of November 1923, known as Barry. He was the eldest of 4 children born to teacher George Dillon and his wife Violet. Barry received his education at Ammermoor State School and later Gympie State School and Brisbane Boys Grammar School. He was a keen student and a talented sportsman and enjoyed cricket, tennis, athletics and swimming. An active member of the school's cadet program, he was 16 years old when the Second World War broke out in 1939. Too young to enlist, Barry completed his schooling and began studying accountancy. He later worked as a clerk at the Commonwealth Bank in Brisbane and was working there when he decided to volunteer for the Royal Australian Air Force. Enlisting on the 25th of May 1942 at the age of 18, he undertook initial training at Sandgate just outside Brisbane. In August, he was sent to Air Observers School at Cootamundra before attending a bombing and aerial gunnery school at Evans Head. In the new year, he qualified as an air observer and completed an air navigation course before travelling to Melbourne, where he embarked for overseas service on the 6th of March 1943. As part of the Empire Air Training Scheme, he was one of almost 27,500 RAAF pilots, navigators, wireless operators, air gunners, and flight engineers who throughout the course of the war joined Royal Air Force squadrons and Australian squadrons based in Britain. Dillon arrived in the United Kingdom in April and was initially posted to a personnel reception centre. He completed further training in June and July before joining number 1667 Heavy Conversion Unit in November 1943. There he learned to operate the new heavy bomber aircraft. On the 5th of March 1944, Dillon was allocated to his first operational unit, number 460 Squadron RAAF, based at RAF Brynbrook in England. The squadron was part of the Bomber Command and was equipped with the Avro Lancaster heavy bombers. Over the following months, Dillon was involved in the squadron's bombing offensive against Germany. On the 16th of June, Dillon was transferred to number 463 Squadron at Waddington. On the 26th of September 1944, Dillon was a member of the crew of Lancaster LM-223, detailed to attack German long-range guns at Cape Grisnez. Their Lancaster was one of 531 aircraft that attacked the enemy fortifications, dropping more than 2,800 tonnes of bombs. Though somewhat hampered by the weather, the attack was successful and German forces were surrendered to the Canadians days later. After the attack, Dillon and the crew of Lancaster LM-223 failed to return to base and were listed as missing in action. The squadron's commanding officer wrote to Dillon's father. Warrant Officer Dillon was the most efficient member of his crew, whose skills and courage have been an inspiration to us all. He was most popular and will be greatly missed by his many friends in the squadron. On behalf of all the members of the squadron, I would like to convey to you our sincere sympathy at the most anxious time, and the hope that some happier news may be received of your son's ultimate safety. By August 1945, nothing had been heard from Dillon or his comrades, who were presumed to have lost their lives on 26th of November 1944. Later investigations revealed that Dillon's Lancaster had been shot down by enemy anti-aircraft fire during the attack on Cape Grenay. Interviews with civilians in the area revealed that the Lancaster then crashed at the nearby town of Weeson, where it exploded, claiming the lives of all on board. Those who witnessed the crash recovered the remains of the crew and buried them in the local cemetery at Weeson, where they still lie today. Dillon's family continued to place memorial notices in the newspaper. Following his death in 1947, they wrote, "Our hearts are torn. They will never mend, in longing for our loved one, whom God to us did lend." Barry Dillon was 20 years old. His name is listed on the honour roll on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Beresford George Douglas Dillon, who gave us his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support of the Memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.